What's going on, guys? So basically, today, me and Campo are here to talk about last night's episode of Game of Thrones, which is episode 8, or 6, the last episode of the whole show. And basically, we don't really have too much good to say about it, but it looks like IMDb doesn't either, because if you look at the rating, it's the worst rated episode, or the lowest rated episode of the whole series. How many episodes was there? Like 80 something or whatever it was. And it's the lowest rated episode. So. I think a lot of people agree with what we're going to say here, but John, why don't you start it off?
Um, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I love this show. Like, I need people to understand this, and you know for sure. Like, I'm not good with TV shows, especially watching the really good ones. But to me, as this is the best show ever, and it
I
was
disagree, but
okay, but it was 6 amazing seasons, a really good seventh season, and then like a negative out of 10. But you would at least say it's the top 3 or 2 shows of all time, right?
yeah, it's number two.
Okay, but that's what I mean. It's almost anybody would tell you that. Anybody who would watch Game of Thrones, anybody who says Game of Thrones is bad is because they don't watch it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
I joke
100%.
around about Breaking Bad, but I know Breaking Bad is good. I've never really watched all of it. I've only seen season 1. But I could never say that show's bad because it's not. This show is so far from being bad that it's insane. This season is awful. Like, in every way.
Yeah,
The
100%.
pacing is off. Everything is so fast. Everything's happening fast. An episode that was supposed to be the most epic battle, the most epic cinematic battle ever, which was against the White Walkers, which
Yeah,
obviously there's spoilers in this episode, jackasses. Uh, that should have been a 2, maybe even 3 episode story. Like,
yeah,
you cannot even compare that to the Battle of Helm's Deep in Tower, or Lord of the Rings 2 Twin Towers, or whatever the hell it's called. That's what they tried to compare it to. Like, the HBO was trying to, and the writers were trying to say that it is that good. No, it was not even a good battle scene in general. Like, there was a few good moments with Arya, and like, I'm happy with the Arya killing the Night King, but
the White Walker. Yeah.
I understand why people are upset about it. But
Okay,
for me, I
well,
was okay with that.
I just gotta say this. First of all, before I even get into my thoughts on the last episode or even the season in general, I gotta say that the rest of the show was amazing, right? Like the battle of in season 6, there was the Battle of the Bastards, was one of my favorite episodes of TV history. Breaking Bad definitely was multiple episodes that are the best. Then we have the Winds of the Winter, which was the last episode of season 6. With both that whole season was amazing, pretty much. And then we had season 7, the last episode of that,
No,
which
that was
basically led
dope.
into season 8, was amazing. And then we have season 8. So basically, Game of Thrones, the lowest rated episode, if we're not counting season 8, we're not counting season 8, is 8.1.
And
Right?
every episode in this season is lower, correct?
In season 8, we have a 7.9, an 8.2, a 7.8, a 5.8, a 6.4, and the last episode, one we're basically reviewing in this podcast, is a 4.5
Oh!
out of 10.
Okay, so this is my biggest thing. Yes, the show completely changed in this. They took entire character arcs. The whole show was based on politics. So for me, I know we talked about this before, but the slow episodes are the ones I like. When it's world building, when it's character building, when it's story building. Those 3 elements were all taken in season 8 and thrown out the window. What happened to Dorne? In the books, Dorne is huge. They're gone now in this. Like, that doesn't make sense. In the book. There's other Targaryens. They're not in this. In
Yeah.
in 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 the book, Sam's dad and his family, Tarly, are
Yeah.
so a big thing. Then they haven't died yet in the book, so I know he didn't write all of them yet, but they're a huge part of it. Even the actor went on TV saying that he doesn't understand why he got killed off because he's supposed to be a huge part of what
Yeah,
happened.
didn't remember how fucking Danny says she killed them, doesn't she?
Yeah, she burned them. She burned his dog and his goldfish, and yeah. And
So this is my whole thing about this season, and everyone who knows Game of Thrones is going to agree with me on this. They rushed it way too much. The Game of Thrones is always one of those things where you got introduced to a character, like a bad guy or whatever, and then eventually that person died later on after a whole epic story. And I feel like like with everyone that died in this season, it felt like it was wasted. They could have done it a lot better. They should have just signed on for another like 2 seasons and like made this whole season about the White Walkers, the next whole season about Cersei, and then the last season about Jon and
Yeah, well, you could have done
Daenerys.
it even if you just made season 7 and 8, 10 episodes, right? You gave 3 more episodes last season and 4 more episodes this year. You might have been able
Yeah, you
to
could have done
fit
it.
it.
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
to me, it you spent so much time doing things that went nowhere, like okay, for example, up until the Red Wedding, which is I think season 4. Anyways, up until the Red Wedding, the way that they did the show was it was a shock factor thing where people you loved could die at any moment. You never know what was going to happen. Then they
Yeah.
changed their role, which it still worked for me, where they realized we need to keep these main actors, the main characters, and roll with the show because they've already done a lot of changes, like little tweaks story wise. Like there was one thing that everyone that happened. I don't remember the specific thing. And then everyone complained about it. So a couple episodes later, they changed it to be something else. Like, it's so stupid. But if you look up online, you'll see it. Like, they bring someone into the show and everyone didn't like it, so they killed her off. Like, the writers are trying to cater to the fans at this point, right?
Yeah.
But then, so after the Red Wedding, you went into the type of, the way the show was making you love the characters. And there was no more extreme shock value stuff. It was more extremely just building those characters that we have now. And without the chance of losing them. And then in this season, it's like, I can't even explain what happened. It wasn't even shock factor kills, and it wasn't keeping the characters we know and love. You changed every character to be completely different, and then the way people got killed off was just stupid. Like, you waited 8 seasons to watch the Hound fight the Mountain, and it was literally like a 2-minute fight that just involved the guy squeezing another guy's head, and then them falling out of a window.
That's
Like, are you kidding me?
That's one of the things I could say about that episode. But the fact that Danny literally destroyed the whole town with the dragons, like, I just don't understand. Like, I know dragons are like a mythical creature, but I just don't understand how they had that much juice in them.
How is it
literally
blowing
blast the
things
whole
up?
city.
It was literally blowing things up like it was shooting rockets.
Yeah.
And like when he burned the throne, why? That didn't make any sense. That was irrelevant.
The dragon burning the Iron Throne last episode 6. But this is my whole thing, okay? So look, Cersei died in a horrible way. I would have loved to see someone actually kill her. She died in the arms of her brother.
And
her
you mean
lover.
horrible for us, not in general, like she died horribly.
Yeah, it was just I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
Like we were told we were supposed to hate that character, and then I do like the fact that we were everyone loves Dany, whatever her name is, the mother of dragons, but we all learned to love her, and then all of a sudden she turned on us and she became like this evil person.
Yeah. Hold on.
I would have loved it way more if when Jon Snow at the end in last episode, if Jon Snow when he was up to her and he's talking to her, she was like, "No, fuck you," you know what I mean? Like, no, we're doing it the way I want to do it. She's OG about it, and then he killed her.
Yeah.
She was basically like, "Come on, I love you, Johnny."
You gave us a character. First of all, like, I'm not even gonna get into Jon Snow's nonsense. All he did yesterday, and we agreed on this, is that he proved he's the dumbest person in all of Westeros.
Yeah, he's the only dumber person is Sansa.
Okay, and I don't like you, but so Dany was a character that from day one you built it into our head to love this person, okay? And we did. We kept loving her more and more and more, and she stood for something. She was the change of the world. And then she's never shown any signs of being the way that she became. And then all of a sudden, in a matter of 2 episodes, she completely switched and became the evil person and killed everybody. And then she had no more, like, go. Like, she didn't say, "Fuck you, Jon Snow, and this is how it's going to be." She was, like, all turned into a little mushy bitch, and she's never done that. Like, these characters have not done these things. And to me, the satisfying way to kill her would have been if Tyrion just shanked her when she was standing at the top of the stairs. That would have been, like, 100%. In front of everybody.
Or what I said would have been even more epic if Jon Snow just, was just, like, you could see he's getting frustrated by... Because remember, she's giving that big epic speech?
Yeah.
It would have been cool if you could tell he's getting frustrated.
If he killed her out of anger instead of love.
Yeah. And just fucking chopped off her head and her head rolled down the stairs.
That's what I'm talking about. That's Game of Thrones that we know. This is not Game of Thrones. Jon Snow used to be badass. Daenerys used to be badass. And you turned them both into a fucking retard and a little pussy.
Yeah.
And
well, other than the fact that she burned down the whole base, but yeah.
But I know, but that doesn't take away from the way that she was. She was very straightforward and smart. She knew what she wanted and she was gonna get it. She never relied on her emotion to get her where she got. She was always hard nosed. This was what's gonna happen. In the end, it was like, oh my god, I love you, Jon Snow. Stab me.
Honestly, look, I would say this: if I had my predictions for this season, and the reason I don't even want to do this podcast is because I don't like. I'm so angry at how the ending happened. Like, it just didn't go the way I wanted to. I'm happy that everyone I liked is alive still, but the way I wanted it to happen was, Arya kills, what's her name, Cersei, right? Jon Snow kills Dany like he did, but in a different way. That was fucking horrible the way that happened. Like, I don't understand. Why was there no guards in that room with her? She's in a room on the Iron Throne.
There was
by herself.
not in the thing that, and this is a thing I said. I don't know if I said it to you, but how did he get caught? How did they know he stabbed her? Because the dragon flew away with her and never came back. Not to mention, if you watch that scene, there's no guards outside anywhere. There's just a dragon.
We're just supposed to believe that Jon Snow just said he did it.
Yeah, okay.
That's what we're supposed to believe.
But, like, there's so many ifs, ands, and buts in this. Like we talked about with Bran. Bran becomes the king. That was the least satisfying part of the whole episode because it makes no sense. And for two reasons. Earlier in the season, he establishes, as well as in other seasons, that he is no longer Bran Stark. He is the Three-Eyed Raven. And in 1 or 2 seasons ago, there's a part where he says the Three-Eyed Raven can have no titles. He is only the Three-Eyed Raven. So how can he become the king and Bran Stark if he can't do either of those things?
Yeah.
What?
Well, honestly, when it comes down to it, I'm going to be honest with you. I would compare this season to something we would see from The Walking Dead, which isn't horrible, or something we would see from like a good season of Sons of Anarchy. Like, that's how I felt watching this season.
Yeah.
You know, like, Sons of Anarchy's best season.
This didn't feel like an HBO show. This felt like an FX show. I get what you're saying here. This felt like a punch in the arm, because it's not that it's realistically, like, when I break it down, this season is not that bad. It's just dissatisfying to the people who have spent all this time watching it. When you compare it to the other seasons, it's not good, but I wouldn't say this is awful. It's just disappointing. It's so disappointing. I'm so upset.
It's knowing that this is it. This is it. You know what I mean? This is it.
And you didn't let me leave in a happy way. The best part of that whole last episode was the final scene with Tyrion and all the people in the thing, because it was supposed to just, like, lead you off to, like, this is how it's gonna be now. Go away.
But that dragged on too.
But I like that. I like that. That's a smart move in filmmaking, because it left an open ending, but it gave you satisfaction of knowing.
I get that, but I mean, a better way to have done it would have been just to show them at the table a little 2-minute conversation, and that's
not even. I would have liked to have just seen them all sit down together after he fixed the chairs.
Yeah.
And then it just ended.
Yeah, 100%. I would have liked that. The guy, Brad, walks in. He's like, I'm going to go find him. And he goes and leaves. Bro, you're a Three-Eyed Raven. You're not a king, man. You should have made Jon Snow the king and killed that fucking guy who said, no, we're not going to do this. We're not. You know what I mean? You could have lied, got Jon Snow, and then killed him.
I know it was to throw people off 100%. But if you can tell me that I'm wrong on this, then you know what? Good for you. Every single person, when they're like, who should be it? They keep showing Sansa. They keep showing everyone looking at Sansa, and then all of a sudden they pick Bran Stark. So that's what made me upset, but I like what she did, because she's still the queen, because they don't have power over her, so she still got what I wanted her to get, but she's just not the queen of the 6 realms, or whatever, the 6 kingdoms. But,
yeah, thankfully.
But the North was always separate, which is like what you want in the end, because the North is what you learn the show on. Other than
that when they tried to shove those politics down her throat, and then they all started laughing at him, that part was freaking good, man. I like that when he's like, "We should all vote who the king is."
Yeah,
people should vote.
I would like to just say this out loud. We both stood up at 3:00 in the morning and we're like, "What the fuck?" Like, if that happened, I would have been upset. Yeah. But other than Sansa got what I think a satisfying ending, and I think all the people at the end with Tyrion, those characters got a satisfying ending. I don't care anything about Bran, so it doesn't matter. Jon Snow got no satisfying ending, and by the way, that was a thing they were saying that they retconned. People were so upset about him getting rid of the dog that they went back and changed it so that he would be with the dog again.
No, but I knew that was gonna happen when he told the guy that episode to say, "You like hold my dog. You can have my dog now." I knew that he was gonna go back. I knew Jon Snow wasn't gonna die. I was telling that to Fran, or one of our buddies. I was telling him, like, I don't think Jon Snow's gonna die because of that reason. he literally says, "I'll be like, take my dog. You can have
Yeah,
it." Obviously, he's gonna come back. And
I don't
get
know.
it.
You took a lot of those characters are my faves, but you took my favorite character who you've built up all season to be so badass, who I've pointed out so many times the little like weaknesses they show her, which doesn't make sense, is Arya. And then you gave me the least satisfying moments with her in the last 2 seasons. Not only did she not kill Cersei and bitch out, then she didn't kill Daenerys and bitched out, and then the ending I get with her is her no words, just her standing on a boat sailing away.
Yeah.
Wow, what the hell did you just took the maybe not even my favorite, probably the best character on the whole show other than Tyrion, and you literally goofed it.
They're obviously trying to create spin-offs, but they're doing it the wrong way, man. Honestly, they are. They should have just left it and then like I don't know. I hope the Arya spin-off show is not going to be like we're not ever going to I hope we see Jon Snow. I hope we see everyone in her spin-off.
Yeah, I'm so sad it's over. You know what, to be honest with you, like I said, I don't want to say I hate this season because I don't. It's just so disappointing. But like, I would have been more satisfied if you just didn't make this season at all and just left it where it ended at season 7. Like,
yeah, like
I would have been better off just not knowing what happens than getting
everyone's
this.
Gonna die.
Because you rushed the season just to tie up loose ends, and you ended up creating more loose ends.
Yeah. Well, honestly, like I said, that's why I kind of didn't want to do this podcast in general, because I don't really enjoy the season, and I'm just angry people thinking about it.
This is not me trying to beat down the Game of Thrones show because I love Game of Thrones. This is me just, I needed to get this off my chest, and I felt like this was the best way to do it. To tell you guys, because I don't have anyone to tell, and the internet is a place where you guys understand these theories, and you know what I'm saying, that how a lot of this stuff just didn't make any sense.
Yeah. 100%. But anyway, let's end it here. Let's keep this one short. Maybe we should do a whole Game of Thrones show review.
I would like to do that.
Maybe we'll get a bunch of people on that one.
Get Chris, get Bargo.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap this up. Like I said, I just wanted to we both wanted to just talk about it and, give everyone our thoughts. But I'll leave Campo's Instagram link in the description. He does reviews, stuff like that on his Instagram. He's got a pretty big Instagram page. You guys should definitely check it out. And we'll catch you guys in the next podcast on whatever we're doing, and have a good day. Peace out.